Hello, everybody. Here's a story that you might find interesting. I find it pretty much turns my stomach, and I have to say I'm a little ashamed that this is my country that is doing this, because this is not what I'm about, and it's certainly not what most of the people I know are about. But this is part of making America great again. Lawyers can't find the parents of more than 500 immigrant children who are separated by the Trump administration. The article is by Stephanie Bear, and I'm going to skip that because it's repeated later on. Children line up. See that? Look at all those children. Children line up at a tent in a Homestead temporary shelter for unaccompanied children in Homestead, Florida, February 2019. Imagine how them kids feel. Lawyers tasked with locating immigrant families who are separated by the Trump administration say they have been unable to reach the parents of 545 children in an effort that has been impeded by the coronavirus pandemic, according to a court filing on Tuesday. People who are constantly asking me when we will find all the families, and I have unfortunately do not know. Lee Gallant, the lead attorney on the case and deputy directors of the ACLU's Immigrant Rights Protect Project, told BuzzFeed News, the numbers tell one story, but each individual child has his or her own story with its own human dimension. And that's why we cannot stop looking until we have found every family. In 2018, the Trump administration systematically separated thousands of children from their parents under a so-called zero tolerance policy, in which parents were sent to federal prison before going to court on charges of entering the U.S. without authorization. Because children can't be sent to a federal prison with their parents, the government separated them, listed them as unaccompanied minors, and transfer them to the custody of the Office of Refugee Resettlement, OOR. Wednesday's report stems from a lawsuit filed by the ACLU in February 2018 on behalf of Congolese asylum seeker identified as Mrs. L, who had been separated from her 7-year-old daughter by U.S. immigration authorities. The mother and daughter were reunited, but the case was expanded into the class action lawsuit that's covered thousands of immigrant families separated by the U.S. government. Following the revelation last year that Trump administration had actually been separating families as early as the summer of 2017 as part of a pilot program, the class was expanded to include another 1,030 children that were separated from their parents as early as July 1st, 2017. As of Tuesday, a committee of law firms and nonprofits, the ACLU, created to track down the separated families, has attempted to reach the parents of all the expanded class members, successfully reaching those children, 485 of the reported states. Of the parents, the committee has been unable to reach, the ACLU believes approximately 2/3 have already been deported to their home countries. The contact information the government gave was largely stale, so we have been looking for families on the ground in Central America. But because of COVID, an on-the-ground search has halted. Geralt said. He described the situation as extraordinarily sad, adding that some of the children who are living with sponsors in the U.S. that ranged from close relatives to foster families were just babies when they were separated 3 years ago, and have now spent more than half their lives separated from their parents. Let that sink in. We are now those people. Under the Trump administration, we have allowed an authoritarian to treat people this way. If we were reading this about another country, we would be shaking our heads in disgust, wondering how they could be so cruel. And what do you think has happened to those children that are in foster families? We all know that that's far from a good system. A lot of those children are neglected and worse. I don't even want to mention some of the things we know that goes on in them places. The report stated that while the on-the-ground efforts were suspended due to pandemic, those efforts are starting again. The steering committee intends to continue physical on-the-ground searches while it remains safe to do so, and will continue to update the court on its progress, particularly if such searches must be limited or suspended again due to travel restrictions or health risks, the report states. Isn't that convenient? These people do this atrocities, and they say when it's safe to do so. How is it not safe? Is it safe for those children to be separated from their families? Is it safe? How do those parents feel? I mean, if someone took your children, do you think you'd be able to sleep every night just because they were snatched away, you were thrown in prison, and for what? Just for trying to come somewhere to make a better life for yourself? This is what great America looks like. I don't think we can stand to be any greater. That's the end of the article. And I don't really have a whole lot more to say on this. If you don't vote Trump out of office, then you are signing off on this. You're saying this kind of thing is okay. And what is next? This is just the beginning of the things that Trump did when he took into office. And he can and will get a lot worse. So keep hiding your head in the sand and thinking that things like this don't happen in America. And that's about all I have to say on this one.